my mom just texted me because we went on that big scary hike.
Yeah.
She said that Uncle Stacy was telling her that his husband's friends is going hiking for the first time this weekend because 4 to 5 years ago, the last time they went on a hike, they watched their friend fall off to their death. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I could, and that would fucking suck.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Welcome back
to another episode of Sometimes Ciabatta Slaps. I'm Mac.
I'm Jubes.
And today, Freud's entered the chat.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about ego.
It's all Freud today.
It's all Freud.
Mm-hmm.
Psychology's favorite dude.
Yes. The father of fucked upness.
Yeah.
Freud.
Psychoanalysis. AKA.
Literally.
Yeah.
Father Freud.
If you're messed up because you secretly want to fuck your parent,
oh God,
you're under Freud's
under Freud's thought process.
Yeah.
Well, it is weird, and I know I've mentioned this before, but his daughter was his biggest supporter.
Yeah.
So it's like, is this a self-fulfilling prophecy, or are you just like writing about what you think?
Well, it's nature versus nurture, right? How much of that has to come into play? I think that's a lot of nurture. If his theories are like.
Yes. Okay, that's not where I thought you were going with that. I was very confused. I was like, there's no nature or nurture part of me that would like to like have a romantic relationship with my father.
But there's the nurture.
Yes.
But if Freud,
I haven't been nurtured into wanting that.
Exactly.
But yeah, if he did, that's insane.
But if Freud was constantly like, oh no, you're acting out because you secretly want to sleep with me.
Oh.
Like I wasn't in Freud's house when he was raising said daughter, but like.
That's so fucked up. Could you imagine? Could you imagine you like, I don't know, break a rule, whatever that looks like for your family, and then your dad's like, yeah, you just want to do that because you want to fuck me. Like,
whoa. Nope.
And oh my God, if that's ever happened to you, I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we can talk about ego and Freud and all that good stuff. But first, Jude's going to tell us about a really difficult hike that she did.
Yeah, so my mom and I went down to Waterton National Park, and we did the Crypt Lake trail. It's one that my mom's wanted to do for so long, but I was like, absolutely not, way too scary, no thank you, I'm not ready to do that. And then this year she was like, you know what, let's just do it. And I was like, okay. And then she sent me a video and she's like, oh, I'm getting a little bit nervous because it's 19 kilometers long. It's 900 meters elevation gain.
19 like round trip?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah. No, like, not 19 there, 19 back. No. Oh my gosh, no, that would be an overnight trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, 9 there, 9 back.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the last kilometer, you are walking on a ledge on the side of a mountain with a 600-foot drop on the left or right of you, and then straight up on the left of you. You're walking along this ledge, and you have to climb this ladder to go through a cave that you have to take your backpack off to fit through. Mm-hmm. Luckily, you could see light at the end of the tunnel. Like, it wasn't a very long cave, which was nice. And then you get off the cave, or get out of the cave, and it is straight down. Straight down. Just like death. And then so you have to like finagle your way out of the cave down these rocks trying to like not fall. And mind you, you just hiked 8.5 kilometers to get there, so you are exhausted, and it was 24 degrees out and your muscles just don't work. And then you have to climb up holding onto a chain. Oops, just a chain. And I was like, no, Mom, I can't do it. I'm not doing the chain. I do not feel safe, because then you have to come back down. And it is straight down, and you would just hold on to the chain and look straight down, and you have a giant pack on your back, and you can just see down to the bottom of the mountain. And you're just like, no, absolutely not. So we turned around and we went back into the cave and back down the ladder and back over the ledge to a safe part. Yeah. But like, it was the hardest hike we had ever done.
Yeah.
It was so difficult because like the whole, like, way too much of the hike for our comfort level was that ledge.
Yeah.
Like, it was like switchbacks down the side of a mountain, and it was just like shale and just scary. We were like, wow, we love this game. It's so much fun. And then they're like, oh, it's berry season, by the way. Watch out for bears. Awesome. Thank you so much. And they're like, since you're in Waterton, there's also like cougars. And I was like, fantastic. Why wouldn't there be? So luckily we didn't see anything, but there was a ton of bear scat like on the trail.
Oh, like they're definitely.
Oh, there's bears in the area.
Yeah.
But luckily we didn't see any, and the scat was like not fresh.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, that's good. But again, like there's so many switchbacks and so many blind corners that you have to kind of make noise the entire time.
Yeah.
So that if there is a bear up the trail, you scare it away.
Yeah.
And then you have to keep like your bear spray like front and center ready to go. And then because we were Googling after, because we were like, first you have to take a boat ride out there. So you ride the boat to the trailhead.
Oh my goodness.
And then you hike up and then you come down and then you have to catch the ferry back. And they were like, yeah, like no one's ever died on this trail, like from falling off with a chain or whatever. And we were like, oh, okay, good. So then I did some Googling after, and like they haven't died from falling. They've died from bear attacks.
Oh, no.
I was like, luckily, the one that I found was from like 1983. So it was like a lot, like it's a fairly safe trail.
Yeah.
But I was still like, holy shit, Mom, what have we done? What have we done? And it was literally like, it was very scary and very hard. But we did it.
But camping in Waterton must have been nice.
Yeah, Waterton is nothing special.
I know.
It's literally not.
I think it's like cute.
Yeah.
You're not going there for excitement.
When you're used to like Banff and Canmore and Lake Louise, it's like almost a letdown.
You think?
Oh, yeah. I was so disappointed the first time I went there.
I went camping with one of my friends for her birthday in Waterton.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where her family grew up going and all that stuff. And we had a blast, but it probably is like the company. Like, I remember walking around the town, there's nothing extraordinary about Waterton as a whole.
Half the town's a campground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then that's where it was. We were like at a campground in the town. And we like walked and we grabbed ice cream and then we went up to like the hotel and then we hiked Bears Hump and looked over like the town at sunrise on Bears Hump. And like that was all fun. And so I have nothing but good memories, but
yeah, and like we've done a bunch of hikes there, and like we drove up to Cameron Lake before we left, and I would go back to Cameron Lake. It looked beautiful up there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for a 3-hour drive I could go to so many different places.
Okay.
And yeah, like the water's not as blue as Lake Louise, so it's not I don't know if being so close to Lake Louise has spoiled me.
Probably. I mean, if you're looking for like, the gorgeous, stunning, like breathtaking views, you're not going to get the bright blue water and like the really crisp trees and all that as you do in Banff.
Yeah.
But one thing you do get is you get more of like a quaint and a little bit cozy kind of.
Yeah. And like when you go during the week, it's way less touristy.
Yeah.
And so like if I was to do a family outing, I would go down to Waterton and like go to Cameron Lake and canoe and play and all that stuff. But like the lakes are too cold really to go in. And the beach in Waterton is all rocks.
Yeah.
But
I don't know any beaches in Canmore or Banff, though, that aren't rocks either.
I guess so, but like...
Yeah.
If I was to go there, I think of it more as like a beach town-ish, almost. Like, yeah, I guess if you're not into hiking, it's not worth going. But if you are into hiking, it's a beautiful place because the hike, like views from our hike were just phenomenal. Like, we were on 3 different mountains. And it was just gorgeous, and there were some beautiful, beautiful waterfalls.
Yeah.
And we've done like, Bears Hump hike is gorgeous. The views of the town from that one. That one would be fun to do like a sunrise hike too.
The Bears Hump. Yeah, that's what I've done.
Yeah. That one would be gorgeous.
We brought like scones and then we froze some milk. We had the milk in the backpack and then we just let it thaw as we got up top, and so we had scones and milk at top.
Nice.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was a good memory.
Yeah, no. But I don't know, because we went in September 2020 with my grandparents. And that was the first time. And like my brother and his ex-girlfriend had gone earlier that year to do grad photos. And the photos were phenomenal. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. Like, it's so beautiful. And then I went there and I was just like, oh, it's plain. And it's so weird because you're driving through like Badlands almost.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's mountains. Yeah. And you're just like, wait a second, we were just in Saskatchewan. Like, I don't understand. Like, it was so weird.
Yeah. That's like, I don't hate it. Like,
yeah.
I like it. I think it's a quaint spot.
Yeah.
But again, yeah, you're not looking for the flashy, kind of glitzy kind of mountain experience.
Yeah. And for me, it was just like, yeah, I could take it or leave it. It's really yeah, it's nothing special to me, but whatever, like,
yeah, it's hard
nothing personal.
When you go to Canmore and you have grassy lakes, or you go to Moraine Lake or Lake Louise, and I don't know, all those places, they'll give me a headache because they're so touristy.
Yeah, they're so busy.
I hate how many people there are.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. And like, I guess we've never really been to Waterton during like peak season. Like, we showed up the Monday of a long weekend at the end of the day, and then we hiked the Tuesday after a long weekend. So there were some people, but not enough. And then when we left on Wednesday, the town was dead. There was not a soul. It was creepy. We were like, no, thank you. But yeah, it was so weird. But yeah, like, Cameron Lake was cool. But yeah. I don't know. It's a good place to hike. And apparently, like, people come from all over to hike Crypt Lake. And National Geographic had it as, like, it was either top 10 or top 5 or something, like, hikes in the world. Yeah. Or whatever, in Canada or something. It was some sort of something or other. Wow. And there was so many people on it. And, like, they made it look so easy. And we were just, like, struggle busing it. Yeah. But, I don't know. It was our second hike this year. So it's not like... Yeah. We were going to be good at it.
Well, and then you did Grassy Lakes, which is like a
I guess I've done Grassy Lakes twice this year. Yeah. And then, but before that, it was just like the Big Beehive at Lake Louise, and then this one, and they were months apart. Yeah. But no.
Good for you, though.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It was something else, that's for sure.
You're no kidding.
I know. Mom's kind of like, I don't remember why I enjoyed hiking in the first place after that hike.
That's kind of how I felt about Yamnuska. Mount Yamnuska, it kicked my butt.
Now she wants to do Yamnuska next.
Yeah. And I would redo Yamnuska. I feel like I need to take it one more go, because at the time I was not healthy. Yeah. When I did it. And so it was like extra struggle bus because I wasn't healthy, and it's a really hard hike. But I want to revive. Yeah. That. Yeah. So I've got no desire to do Yamnuska, but everyone keeps telling me it's amazing. So it is when you're on top.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'm afraid of heights. Oh. Yeah. So, and I've seen the views from Mount Yam. I know, it's been consistent. I've known this for years. Yeah. And I've seen the views from Mount Yamnuska, and I don't think it's not going to be fun. It's going to be about the same as Haling, and I'm going to have to sit on the top and like deep breathe into a paper bag until the mountain stops moving, and I can go back down. Yeah. And then when you go back down, it's all sand and slide. Oh, no, thank you. That's what you went down the scree?
You have to. I mean, you can backtrack, but it's a lot more difficult to backtrack, because to get to the part where you do the rock slide up the back to the before you hit the front ledge there, basically you hike on a normal trail. Yeah. Then you get to this like stack of boulders. You have to climb the stack of boulders to get to the back side of the mountain. Yeah. You walk around another trail, and then you have to rock scramble up to the top to get back to solid rock.
No, thank you.
And during that rock scramble, when you're back up on solid rock, then there's one part you have to hold onto a chain. It's not very long. It's like 2 meters maybe. Yeah. You have to hold onto that chain to continue on the trail, and then you get to the very top of the mountain. And then if you look over, sure enough, it's a straight drop.
Yeah, it's just straight down.
Because that part of the mountain face has slid down once upon a time. And that's why it's a rock scramble below it. Yeah. And then you continue around the backside, and then you end up at this really sandy bit. Like it's sand. Yeah. Almost, it looks like a sand dune in many ways. Yeah. And then you kind of slide down that, walk around a little bit, and then you can either walk along the face of the mountain, right, or you can rock slide down those rocks as well. Okay. Either you walk the face back to the part of the trail where you climbed up the boulders, or you rock slide down and get to the bottom of the trail faster.
Yeah, I'm not doing that one. I'm sorry. There are 3 things I do not do on hikes. Like screes, scrambles, chains, and ridges. Yeah. And Yamnuska has all 3 of those. For a view I can get from any other mountain. Yeah. Because, yeah, like on All Trails, which is the hiking app, there's 3 different, like, trail options.
Yeah.
So there's, like, Yamnuska Climbers Approach, Mount Yamnuska Raven's End, and then Mount Yamnuska Traverse and Scree Slope Descent.
Mm-hmm.
So that must be the one you did.
Yeah.
But Raven's End sounds fine.
Okay. I never knew about that one when we went. We just did the scramble and the slides.
Yeah. And so this one's just like, it doesn't tell you anything, but it doesn't say that there's like chains or scrambles or anything on that.
So it'll probably continue on the same trail around the same area, but not up to the top.
I don't know. I don't know what considers. And you can go past the Raven's End and go up a little bit more is what the reviews were saying.
Mm.
So I'd be more inclined to try that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it has like the same elevation, I think, a little bit less than what we did.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like half the kilometers,
mm-hmm.
which is nice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In terms of recovery after Tuesday, it's been pretty decent. We were able to move. Like our hip flexors are sore. Mine aren't too bad today. It just calves are a little bit sore.
Good.
But like no shin splints or anything. And then, because we were tenting.
Yeah.
So we just had mattress pads to like sleep on, like just like the self-inflating ones. And like the campsite we were at, instead, like for tent sites,
mm-hmm.
they just had rocks. Like it was just gravel. They didn't have grass.
Oh.
And I was like, this is a tent site. Like,
yeah.
Why? And so we couldn't even put our tent pegs in the ground because it was just
rocks.
Like there was like this much rocks. Like we couldn't get our tent peg into something solid.
Oh, yikes.
I was like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So yeah, It was like a hard piece of plywood on top of rocks that we slept on the night before. And I was like, this is great. My poor ribs hurt so bad. And then we went up there and then we probably had like too much, like our packs were probably heavier than they needed to be, but I don't know what I would have taken out to make them lighter.
Yeah.
And then we were going back down the ladder and Mom's water bottle fell out of her backpack all the way down the mountain. So now it just lives in the mountain. We couldn't see it from where it fell. And we were so thankful that it wasn't tied onto her backpack because it was a 2-liter water bottle that would have jostled her enough that something very, very dangerous could have happened.
Oh, no.
It was so scary. And then we both got back to the campsite. We were trying to go to sleep. And the next morning, I was like, Mom, every time I closed my eyes, I was back on the mountain. She's like, so was I. It was so bad.
Traumatized.
Yeah, it was, not fun. But then we went to Head Smashed In Buffalo Jump on our way home.
Yeah.
And that was underwhelming too.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree. It's not huge. I liked it. Like I went as a kid though.
Yeah.
But it's really fun to see and look at the area and learn. Yeah.
Well, I had been to another one in Saskatchewan that I thought was Head Smashed In, but apparently it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so that one, I went in with the expectation of that one. And so they were just different.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting to learn about the history of the people. And then there was dancing and drumming when we were there. Every Wednesdays at 11 and 1:30, they have like traditional like dancing and stuff. It was so cool. And then like live drumming and singing.
Yeah, I don't think we had that when I went, but we had like,
I think it's relatively new.
Yeah, Bannock and Pemmican, and I was also in like 5th grade maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we learned about that in school.
Yeah.
5th or 6th.
Yeah, it was. But so that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know that was happening, so we showed up after the first half of dances or whatever. So we only saw a couple, but yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm glad they're doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back and see it as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking it's a really cool place, like as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to relive it as an adult.
Yeah. And then it was just the way they have their museum laid out was really weird because you have to like, it's really cool because it's in the hill. Like you can't see it at all.
Yeah.
But then you hike all the way up to the top of the building and then you walk back down towards the exit.
Mm.
But there isn't one elevator that takes you all the way up to the top.
Oh, I don't remember that.
You go in one elevator that takes you up 3 floors. You walk along to the back of the building to go up another 3 floors. And then you can go out and walk along to see the buffalo jump and then come back in and then start taking the stairs down and you like walk through the story.
Yeah.
Or the history, I guess. It wasn't a story.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember that part of it. But I remember we had like a walking tour. And...
It was a very confusing layout for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I get why you did this, but I'm also very confused.
Yeah.
But no, it was cool. And I didn't see any snakes. So win-win-win.
That's wild.
But yeah, it was a very eventful 2 days. 2 days.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I'm a little bit less eventful.
Yeah.
2 days I just did school.
Yeah. That's fun.
But now I'm in this like era of like, oh, maybe I should buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And so yesterday I was looking at houses and what it would cost and versus renting to like, yeah, you have to put a down payment first, but your month payments would be less than paying rent right now in the city. And so I'm like seriously considering that idea now. I'm like, do I just buy a house and have a basement suite and get most of my mortgage payments paid by renters?
Yeah, exactly.
What's that going to look like?
Well, and you have a friend who's a realtor anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, might as well look into that.
I want to get a little more literate in real estate
and
kind of start getting my foot in the door in it because the city's growing.
Oh, yeah. And it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Housing's always available. Housing's always necessary.
Yeah. Canada's growing more than we are able to put out houses.
Yeah. And so if you can get your foot in the door and so I want to have said friend on to talk about real estate and the do's and don'ts and because I do think having a steady home is contributing to well-being or sense of well-being. So
yeah, it'll be really interesting to hear what she has to say about that, especially after in Rich Bitch when she was like, don't buy a home, it's a waste of money.
I know.
And just kind of pick her brain about that.
Yeah.
Do you think we could ask her to read that chapter?
Yeah.
And then have her give her thoughts on that?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
This is us asking you, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we know you watch. Yeah. Also, hi.
No, I think that'd be so fun to just like, again, just to have for anyone who wants to like own a home and do all these things and stuff and but doesn't really know where to start to have someone on to talk about that.
Well, even like all the things that are out there for first-time home buyers. Like just to have someone to dumb it down and explain it to us and be like, this is what you need in no uncertain terms. Yeah. And like, this is a scam. Don't do this. Or yeah.
I think that'd be a fun episode.
So I think so too.
Text us if you want to be on.
So yeah, when are you free? We'll get that going. Yeah.
Can we go over for coffee?
Literally.
Talk about houses?
Yeah. You can see my house. Oh, that's sweet. Okay, so now that we're 23 minutes in.
Yeah. We'll get into Freud.
So, our episode is all about ego. As no one got because we didn't talk about it.
Talked about hiking.
Minor. Okay. So we go into the difference of like ego in Freud's term versus ego in layman's term. And so in Freud's term, ego comprises the executive functions of personality by serving as the integrator of the outer and inner worlds, as well as the id and superego. So it's kind of the balance between your unconscious and your conscience.
Yep. And
then in layman's term, it's your ego is your self-image created by thought. It's your social mask. So tie back to Jungian archetypes.
Yep.
One that constantly requires validation because it lives in fear of losing its sense of identity. And our ego always wants to feel significant and adored. It seeks instant gratification and it wants to feel more powerful than other people. Excuse me.
And so under Freud's terms, we have the ego, the superego, and the id. And so the id is the primitive and instinctual part of the mind that contains sexual and aggressive drives and hidden memories.
So it would be your shadow self?
And
there was something else. I'll find it.
We'll get it down here. I think we have it in here somewhere. And then so the superego operates as your moral conscience. Its function is to control the id's impulses, especially those that society forbids, like sex and aggression. Therefore, it's also the part that makes you feel guilt or shame about your actions. It also persuades the ego to turn in moralistic goals rather than simply realistic ones, and to strive for perfection. And that one consists of two systems, the conscious and the ideal self. And so the conscious contains all the thoughts, memories, feelings, and wishes of which we are aware at any given moment. And then the ideal self is the inner image of oneself as one wants to become. It consists of the individual's conscious and unconscious images.
Yeah.
And then we have the ego, which is the realistic part that mediates between the desires of the id and the superego. It's the decision-making component of the personality that works by reason. It works out realistic ways to satisfy its demands. And the ego has no concept of right or wrong. Something is good simply if it achieves the end of without satisfying or causing harm to itself or the id.
Mm-hmm.
Ego in Latin translates to I, and the ego is created from the id during infancy.
Right.
And so each of these three interacts to form a whole, and each part makes a contribution to an individual's behavior. And so Freud separated your mind into the conscious and unconscious minds. And so your id is fully in your unconscious, while your ego and superego are more conscious than unconscious.
So how many times can we say those words before they're no longer real?
I know. That was a tongue twister.
Literally.
For that whole section. But when you look at the ego, id, and superego in terms of an image, think of an iceberg.
Yeah.
And the id is at the bottom of the iceberg. You can't really see it. And then
it'll sink the Titanic.
Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure it goes superego, then ego on top, because the ego is what you see day to day.
Yeah.
Because it's playing mediator between your angel and devil.
Yeah. In all the images that I see, like the superego and the ego kind of split the top. With the ego having more. Yeah. And then they're like split diagonally. And then the id is always underneath. But yeah. And so they're not actually structures in the brain. These are just hypothetical, like conceptualizations of important mental functions. But if we were to put them as brain functions, the amygdala would be the id. And so Freud wrote an essay titled Beyond the Pleasure Principle, where he states, quote, "We believe that any given process originates in an unpleasant state of tension and thereupon determines for itself such a path that its ultimate issue coincides with the relaxation of this tension," end quote. So this pleasure principle coincides with the amygdala. It's associated with the fear response, and the automatic non-conscious responsiveness to danger tracks the function of non-conscious responsiveness to danger tracks the function of Freud's id and avoidance of pain. So many big words. Yeah. So yeah, it's your what you want but can't admit kind of thing. And then the ventromedial prefrontal cortex is the superego. In theory. Yeah. So this area of the brain has reciprocal neural connections with the amygdala and is intimately bound up with emotional control. So it is poised to serve as a source of conflict with the amygdala, and it has also been related to guilt-related affective processing, which coincides with Freud's description of the superego. And then the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex as the ego, which is associated with inductive reasoning, and so it involves making logical inferences about the external world. It has a role in forming rules and applying said rules, and it has the ability for metacognition, so thinking about your own thinking and recognizing your existence as self, which is why we can practice self-control, which is pretty cool. There's actual parts of the brain that can be tied back to these, even though these were just like things Freud thought about.
Well, yeah, it's theory, and then that's where the neuropsychology has come up with, like, okay, yeah, if we were to personify id, ego, superego, and then tie them back to a physical function of the brain that we know interacts today, that's what was come up in theory. Yeah. There's no scientific evidence behind that, but it's just like it's interesting to play around with the fact that the amygdala, the ventromedial prefrontal, and then the dorsolateral prefrontal. Yeah. And how they all split the tasks.
Yeah, that there are like similarities between the things.
Exactly.
Super cool.
And so what if there's imbalances? Someone with a dominant id may be impulsive, uncontrollable, and possibly criminal. Ooh. They're ones that act on their basic urges and disregard social appropriateness. And a dominant superego can lead to someone who is judgmental and may not be able to accept anyone they deem as bad or immoral. And then your ego
you kind of wanted to be dominant.
Yeah, you mediate. You want but it's funny because that's when the whole social term, like, oh, you're being egotistical. Where does that come into play? In Freud's terms, the ego is the good thing, right? It's the good guy. We want to play the mediator. But someone who's egotistical might actually have either a dominant id or a dominant superego that's coming off as, it's all about me.
Well, it's weird to think about how, like, he termed it ego. But we have twisted that term to mean something completely different than what it actually is. Because if you want to say, like, oh, like, I have a very dominant ego, like, or it's in balance or whatever, like, but my ego is the most dominant, people would be like, oh, like, that's a giant red flag. But if you think about it in Freud's term, like, no, that means that's very good. That's what you want.
Yeah. Is
like a dominant and well-balanced ego, superego, and id.
Yeah.
But instead of just,
because ego means I, if you're egotistical, is basically another way of saying you're selfish.
Yeah. But right? I wonder why they chose ego for that. I guess I.
Latin, the I. Yeah. And so everything was based off of Latin terms.
Yeah, I guess so. So then we changed it to like I is selfish or whatever. But then Freud took it as I is self.
Yeah.
I basically said the same thing, but
when
different.
You break down the word selfish, right? The connotation of being selfish is negative, but you're just focused on yourself, which in some cases isn't all bad.
Well, yeah, there's different levels of being selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so if there's an imbalance between the three, then there will be issues. And so a healthy psyche is one where the ego is in charge because it's the only part in direct contact with reality.
Yeah.
And so neurosis is believed by Freud to be caused by an over-dominant superego, and the defense mechanisms that will be implemented are done so by the ego in its attempt to regain control. However, because the defense mechanisms are being overused, too much psychic energy is used, and this allows maladaptive behavior to emerge. Fun. And so psychoses are caused by an over-dominant id. And so to resolve problems as a result of the imbalance of the id, superego, and ego, a therapist would assist the client in going back to their childhood and identifying where the problem first arose. Again, this ties back into the whole your id creating your ego. And so your basic primitive childlike instincts are now creating your adaptive behaviors as an adult.
Right.
And so by identifying this problem, it will bring into conscious where the imbalance can be restored. However, this method is time consuming and expensive, and there's no way to measure if the effect has been cured because it's up to the client's interpretation of what cured is.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the first ever kind of therapeutic form, A, but then B, the first kind of cognitive behavioral therapy-esque session that we've seen in psychological history.
Right.
And cognitive behavioral therapy is very much used like today.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
As a primary form of therapy.
Yeah. Fun stuff. And so it's important to understand what your ego is in terms of being self-aware, because by becoming self-aware, you have recognized your ego and you understand that it's a functional part of your mind because your ego keeps you safe, and your ego identity is a series of core beliefs that work as a defense protection mechanism. So your ego identity is who you think you are, as well as familiar feelings and emotions you identify with yourself. And so this is very similar, I would say, to the ideal self in the superego. That was just something that I was like, oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
And so the ego would often overcompensate in the fragile state with the following, like strong emotional reactivity, false confidence or overcompensation, black and white or like rigid thinking, rejection of any idea that conflicts with the ego's beliefs, extreme competition, so a belief that another person's success hinders your own, constant comparison to others, judgment of others, mocking, insulting, threatening, analysis paralysis, so obsessive thoughts that stop you from completing any action. And so that is if your ego is not balanced and you don't understand that it is like a functional part of your mind.
Yeah.
And again, like if you are self-aware, you're able to recognize like, oh, my overcompensation is I have a fragile ego.
Yeah.
In a different sense than how we would know that today.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Yeah.
And so today, ego is defined as their sense of own worth. And so we now think that our ego is telling us that we are the center of the universe or not enough, as we mentioned earlier. And then your ego's presence and strength is determined by a combination of internal and external factors. And so if someone has a big ego, quote unquote, then they are thought as being full of themselves. It's almost a synonym to vanity, where people say having less ego and being less vain are more desired qualities. And we very much have changed the connotation of ego from positive to or positive or neutral one to a very negative one, which good or bad, it's kind of up to interpretation, really.
Yeah.
Because how much, I think a lot of people's problems, right? Like we're seeing a lot of people pleasers now, which isn't always a bad thing, but it's almost to a fault now. So I think the pendulum has swung too far one way. Yeah. And gaining back some selfishness might actually be of benefit as far as mental health goes.
But it is tough, with the pendulum analogy. Like, you swing too far where you're people pleasing and not taking care of yourself. But then if you swing back, then you're too selfish. So it's just finding that stasis in the middle. Not stasis is the right word, but like that calm spot in the middle where you have a perfect balance.
Yeah,
hard.
And so to control your ego, or if there's any methods, most of the methods that are known, again, is either kind of cognitive behavioral therapy-esque or work doing things like shadow work, as we mentioned earlier. Asking yourself why you feel the need to be the loudest voice in the room, or why do you feel offended by someone else succeeding? So taking accountability for your emotions rather than using the projection and deflection methods.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Do you have anything, like, we've talked about people pleasing with you, but do you have anything else that you notice, like,
I find that might be an ego? That I feel, I don't know if threatened is the right word. I feel defensive, I guess. When I can watch someone else, they're getting something that I want so bad and I've been working so hard to achieve, and I'm still so far from getting that. And there's really, for certain things, there's not much I can do to help myself get them. But I need to work on, like, being okay with that. But like, that's definitely something. And then with the whole not trying anything unless I'm gonna be good at it kind of deal. But now that I've become stronger and stuff, I'm a lot better at things that I wouldn't normally have been. So I don't know, what about you?
I think one thing that's stayed consistent is comparison to others. I definitely compare. And then, like, judgment of others, but not to the way that he, like, describes. Like, I don't mock, insult, or threaten others in that way. But I definitely do kind of compare myself or judge myself amongst my peers at times. I need to catch myself and be like, no, everyone has their own story and it's all fine. But, or it's like, oh, I should be doing more. And I kind of have like that, I don't know, judgment of self. More so.
I guess so.
Once upon a time, I would say I would have some strong emotional reactivity.
And I'm still working. I definitely am still working on that. But being able to name my emotions and, like, having the freedom to express them has been phenomenal. But so that, I don't know if that's just growing up, but
probably. Well, because, like, you are developing, right? You're more emotionally stable, hypothetically, as you get older. Hypothetically, keyword. But no, I definitely have, like, I play the comparison game, or I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I should be doing more. For where I'm at.
No, I agree. It just, especially with where we're at in our lives right now, it's just such a weird, like, it's such a transition phase almost. Because, like, you look at what your parents are doing at this age and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not there. Then you look at other people around you and you're like, okay, well, you're not there either, but you are. But you don't want that, but what? And, like, it's just so hard to,
Well, it really depends on who you talk to, right? Like, there are some people I talk to that are, like, stoked about what I'm doing. They think I've done, like, the coolest thing and I've achieved so much in life. And then there are other people who have achieved way more. And it's like, and so I always look at the ones who've achieved more, not the ones who have, quote unquote, achieved less than me. But again, it's all up for interpretation. But then the ones that look up to me, I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate it. But I don't think I really listen to it, because I'm always looking for more.
Well, and it's almost like imposter syndrome. Like, when I've started telling people that I work from home. Because I feel weird saying, like, oh, I'm a stay-at-home girlfriend. So I was talking to someone in the gym the other day and they're like, so, like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, like, I work from home right now. And they're like, oh, like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I podcast. And they're like, oh, nice. I was like, instead of being like, oh, I'm a stay-at-home girlfriend, like, oh, what do you do? Like, oh, I podcast. Like, oh, well, how much do you make from that?
Exactly.
But if I say, like, oh, I work from home, then it gets rid of all, like, the I don't know, almost uncomfortable questions where I'm like, no, this is my job. I can work at it. It's not just some side project.
Yeah.
Like,
it's your full focus right now.
I know.
Between the two.
And it makes me feel cool to be like, yeah, I work for myself.
It boosts the ego.
I haven't made any money, but I work for myself.
We made a little bit of money, but not enough to say that we've monetized by any means. But
yeah. So, yeah, it's just funny. But even just switching that from being like, oh, I'm a stay-at-home girlfriend to, oh, I work from home. Mm-hmm. It's just not that I'm ashamed of being a stay-at-home girlfriend. It's quite fortunate, but it's still, instead of being like, oh, I'm unemployed.
I'm an intern.
Yeah, exactly. I'm interning. Yeah. For myself. Because even that gets looked upon with more like
you're working towards something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't just some passion project. I really, really am working hard to make this succeed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not just in here for shits and giggles. Like,
just having fun.
Yeah, but I don't know. Things like that.
Yeah. I agree.
And so then I found a paper about it's called ego depletion and its relation to self-control. Mm-hmm. And so it was so interesting. And so the whole premise of the paper was that failure of self-control emerges as a consequence of limited resources. So if you practice self-control once, then you won't be able to self-control in later attempts. So you kind of like use up your battery. Mm-hmm. And so that's been called ego depletion. And so there have been studies done that show that when people repeatedly exert self-control within a short period of time, their performance on a subsequent act of self-control is likely to decrease. Mm-hmm. And so the study that I found was asking if this ego depletion can be avoided with a focus on self-awareness. But I couldn't understand what they were using to test for self-awareness.
I think it's they're probably self-tests.
Yeah. Because when I read it, if this is the one I'm thinking, oh yeah, I go into it. So the study found that if the person is properly motivated or self-aware, then they will not show as much ego depletion as someone who is not self-aware. Mm-hmm. So some examples of what they were tasked with were squeezing one of the, those hand grip things until failure, solving calculations while loud noises were happening, then doing a scrambled sentence task, then squeezing the hand grip until failure again. And so the first two tasks were to deplete the person's self-control, and then the last two were to test self-awareness. Mm-hmm. And so, I just wasn't sure. The way I think about self-awareness and the way they were testing self-awareness didn't mesh. Mm-hmm. But it was very interesting that they found that, like, if you are self-aware and motivated, then you are more likely to, like, push yourself and go longer than if you aren't striving for anything, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was very, very
being
interesting.
Self-aware is like just turning into yourself. Mm-hmm. Right? In that scenario?
Yeah. I guess. Well, even on the hike, like, I was self-aware enough to know that it was not safe for me to go up that chain.
Yeah.
And my ego was very tired because so much of that was a mental gain and using self-control to one foot in front of the other, like, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah.
And with that one, if there was a different way down once you're up, I think it might have been a different story,
It
right?
would have been different.
You do this once, but it's going up and knowing you have to go back down and you're already tired.
And down's going to be just as scary.
Yeah.
And the lake's not that pretty anyways. So it's really not. I watched a YouTube video and I was like, that's disappointing. But then, I don't know. The only way out other than that is on a helicopter. And so, as nice as that sounds.
Hello, stars.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I don't need that bill. So yeah, but then in the study, the example they had of self-awareness was that a kid is less likely to eat as much candy if they're looking in a mirror than if they're not.
Because you have to think about how much you're eating.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you also shouldn't eat when you're watching TV, because you get distracted.
And then you just eat more.
Well, overeating comes into play, right?
Yeah.
You eat past the point of being full. Because fun fact, it actually takes 20 minutes for your gut to actually connect to your mind and then be like, oh yeah, we're actually full. So that's why eating slower is preferred, because then it gives your body more time to actually communicate with how full it's getting.
Oh, that's really interesting. I learned that you can only digest 30 grams of protein at a time.
And only about 20% gets absorbed into your muscles. The other 10% gets used for other energy.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So the personal trainer guy at the gym was like, for me, he recommends eating 4 meals of 30 grams of protein each.
Yep.
And I was like, no one had ever broken it down for me like that.
But if you want the protein to go straight into your muscles, you should be doing about 20 grams and then over, say, 5 meals or whatever. 5 or 6 meals.
So I gotta work on that.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, again, having more protein doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be used for other functions in your body.
Yeah, but you'll only use about 30 grams of it, regardless. 30 to 40, I think it was.
Yeah, everything else will go turn into waste. And that's when you have ammonia-smelling urine and stuff. It's really fun.
Oh.
Because it's all the breakdown from the proteins.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's disgusting. Okay. I was so mad because Mom and I had drank so much water on our hike. This is TMI for everyone who's listening, but and then I brought like BioSteel like electrolyte packet, so I had one when we were on the trail, and then I had one when we got back just to like make sure that my body was fine because it was so sweaty. I was so mad at how dehydrated my pee was the next morning. Like, are you kidding me? I had so much water yesterday.
Well, because you used up though, right? Like,
I did.
It was just maintenance. It wasn't excess.
Yeah, I was like, I used it all up, and then
your muscles had to rehydrate
all of the anxiety toxins out of my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, Mom's like, I was so mad. I drank so much water even before we went to bed. I was like, yeah, I know.
That's because you just did an extensive hike, though. Like,
yeah.
If you drank that much water on a normal Tuesday and still was dehydrated.
It was still probably just a regular amount of water.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe 3 liters.
Yeah.
In a day. 3.5.
I drink about almost a gallon a day.
Yeah. So.
Add another.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how much that is in a gallon. How many liters are in
4.
a gallon? 4? Yeah.
So add another liter.
Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then so now we're going to dive into the male ego and then the female ego, and that kind of wraps us up. So the male ego has been characterized as large and fragile. Toxic masculinity. Here we are.
At its finest.
So no matter the man. However, some men do have fragile egos while others have strong or moderate egos. That being said, the construct and durability of male egos are different. And so what do you think of when you hear the term male ego? Immediately, I think toxic masculinity.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, I'm sorry about your penis size. I
don't know.
Truck is not going to compensate for that.
Literally, yeah.
So it makes you think of a man who's constantly needs to show off, impress women, outdo others. However, the male ego can be tied to how and where a man sees his place in the world and whether he's living up to expectations, societal or otherwise. And so in other cases, there are cultural stereotypes that are tied to the inflation and deflation of the male ego. Often, men will measure themselves by asking the following questions. Am I strong enough? Am I wealthy enough? Do I meet the traditional definition of masculinity? Do I attract women? Do I control things or people? Do people recognize me for these things? And am I respected and revered for them? I was like, what is that? Spelling English.
Yeah.
Hello. And depending on their answers, it may result them feeling like they need to exaggerate their self-efficacy. And so a large influence on male egos is traditional gender roles. So according to the article that we read, these roles grew from the need to leverage biological differences between men and women and ensure survival. And so as a result, men are still expected to be in charge, strong, and able to take care of their family and take on the responsibility for the livelihood of your family. And so some things in this article said in recap the section that we found funny. So connecting your self-worth, the emotions, and meaningful attributes is what makes ego healthy. And you can help by being understanding, empathetic, and helping to reframe a man's ability to self-evaluate in a healthy manner.
It was literally like, how can you baby a man into being self-confident?
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not my job.
But on that same token, how many things are we seeing on the internet now of women being like, support your man and boost his ego and make him feel strong and stuff. And I agree with that to an extent, right?
Oh, 100%.
Don't belittle, right? If you're in a heterosexual relationship, like, don't belittle your man. Don't be a bitch just to be a bitch. Don't demand an excess amount of an excessive, unrealistic kind of demands from him.
Exactly.
But on that same token, I've always been the type that I hated in like junior high and high school when like I was talking to a guy and he's like, oh yeah, like we'll watch a horror movie and you'll be all cuddled up with me. And I'm like, absolutely not. I love horror movies.
Yeah.
You'll be crying on my lap.
Yeah.
And they don't like that.
Yeah.
It's an ego crusher or whatnot.
And that's the whole thing is like traditional gender roles are changing so much right now that it's like the way this article was written was very confusing because I didn't understand like what their goal was with it.
Yeah.
Because like society is changing so much and traditional gender roles don't mean so much anymore. But even the question like, do I control things or people? That's a scary question. Like,
and then you could reframe that question to, do I feel in control of my life?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I agree with you. It is like a... And
like, was that just because it was written for a man and it doesn't like stand out to me, or like what's going on with that?
I had a debate about the whole this idea of, should your man control what you wear?
Absolutely not.
And I don't think it's in the control aspect. But I do think if you're in a partnership and you have this prerequisite of like, this is how I dress, this is who I am.
Yeah.
If you go into that relationship being like, oh, I'm going to change her.
Yes.
I don't want her to, I'm going to change how she wears. I don't like how she looks now. So, but I can reform her.
Even with the whole Jonah Hill stuff that we talked about a couple episodes ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's, no, you can't control in that sense. But if you're going into a relationship and like, I'm already seeing it where I'm asking my boyfriend's opinion. I'm like, oh, like, what do you think of this? Yeah. Right. I'm asking your opinion. Your influence matters to me. But if you went in and went through my closet and said, get rid of this, 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 and this, I would tell you to suck a dick. Literally. Respectfully.
Yeah. Like, absolutely not.
But it's just like, yeah. So there's like that tit for tat kind of thing. If you're in a partnership, then yeah, you want to consider your partner's opinions. Yeah. But it shouldn't go in with a sense of, I control you. Yeah. You are mine.
Exactly.
Right?
And there should still be like a level of respect there. Like for your partner. And so this is probably a weak example, but at the gym, like there was one day I was like, okay, I'm really hot. Like I want to take my shirt off and work out in a sports bra. And then I was like, I feel gross doing that without, I don't know, talking to Bryce about it first. And like, I don't know why that is. Cause like we can hang out in bathing suits all the time. It's no big deal. But in a public setting, I was like, are you okay with that? And he's like, Trini, I literally don't care. Yeah. I was like, I know, but I didn't want to like have that be something that's uncomfortable for you and then me just do it and then it turn into a whole thing.
Yeah, be tits out for the girls at the gym
and yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those things.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I would rather ask for permission than forgiveness.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But even not permission, just like opinion, I guess.
Yeah. I was like, is that something that makes you uncomfortable? Yeah. Because if it is, then I have no issue like keeping my shirt on at the gym. And even then I've never worked out just in a sports bra. Yeah. But I was like, I don't know.
But if you want to, you should have the freedom to do so without feeling like you're going to be objectified.
Yeah. I was like, are you okay with me being objectified by other men? Yeah. Like, we know what happens, but it's definitely going to happen when I take my shirt off. And we were working out with his younger brother, my younger brother, and everyone else from the crew. So I was just like...
And your tits out for the boys.
Yeah, literally. I was like, are we good with this? I know you're not going to say anything about it, but I just want to make sure that that's not a boundary for you.
Take your tits out. Yeah. No, I get it.
I don't need to do that for our family. I don't know how much of that is like internalized misogyny or just like me sexualizing myself, because I know we're like the whole free the nipple and like free the boob movement is just like, are my tits out or do I just have boobs? Yeah. Right? Like,
yeah. And if you want your tits out, again, that's your prerogative.
Yeah, all the power to you.
But yeah, if you go into a relationship being tits out for the girls and then your partner's like, actually, you need to be dressed like a nun. Yeah. Not your, it's a prerequisite.
That's not how that's going to work.
It's not his place to say that or their place to say that or whatever. You don't
need to change for them. Exactly.
So I didn't like the word of control, but I do like the term influence.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because even then, Bryce influenced your thought about that because you're like, you're considering his opinion and you've said, hey, I like you. Let's do life together. Yeah. But you're thinking about what they would think as well.
Yeah. And then if it's not, and then, that brings up an important conversation that you're having with your partner of like, oh, do these things bother you? If so, why or why not?
Yeah.
Oh, is that something I'm okay with?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. So the female ego. The female ego is supposedly that women take pride in nurturing their partners or people around them. And so this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but once you begin to determine your self-worth from your ability to nurture people, then it becomes harmful. And so the article that I found suggested that women stay in painful relationships under the notion of, I can fix them. And then by enduring the suffering and sacrifices, that they're proving how womanly we are. And so another example this article gave was during Ramadan, when the woman would wake up early to make food, and then they would be thanked for doing that. But what they really wanted was someone to wake up with them and help them. But they will never ask for that because it's almost considered you're more of a woman if you don't ask for help and you just suffer through in silence kind of thing. And so then you foster resentment towards your partner and them for not offering help. But even if they did, we'd be like, oh, no, it's okay. Just hoping that they would not listen and just help you anyways.
Yeah.
And when we were looking into the female versus male ego, I wanted to know, like, what the bias was for each. And so the first 4 results that we Googled for the female ego were 5 ways to spot the female egos in toxic relationships, female ego ideal conflicts in adulthood, and understanding the overbearing female ego. Whereas the male ego search results were the male ego definition, causes, tips, and more. How to understand the male ego with pictures. WikiHow. With pictures?
It's a parent book.
What? No WikiHow article showed up for female ego. The male ego hairstyling. There was like a hairstyling spot in Nova Scotia that showed up in our search results. And then the glass ego at Oprah.com. It was just interesting to see them beside each other and be like, okay, because there was very much a difference.
Yeah.
But then I really enjoyed the like the male ego definition, causes, tips, and more, because it felt like a fairly, like, that's the one we pulled a lot of our information from. Just informative, like, this is what it is. This is what you can do. This is how you can help. But there was nothing like that for the female ego. And so I don't know if that was just like lack of research or just something no one's ever thought about, because ego and women don't necessarily go together in what we think of.
Well, it's not an aggressive, abrasive way.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's the female ego was like self-sacrifice to a point of like martyring yourself, basically. But I don't know. It was just interesting for me. But I was like, So.
And then we have a article here that's like 25 ways to kill the toxic ego that will ruin your life. And for me, as I read it, it's kind of all the cliches that we think with everything else, right? A little bit. It's like the adopt a beginner's mindset, focus on the effort, not the outcome, choose purpose over passion, shun the comfort of talking, and face the work.
Right.
And all this kind of stuff. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the points?
Yeah, they make sense, but they're very cliche.
Yeah. And
I think a lot of that is literally like the basis of self-help books.
Yeah.
Like even how the book for this month, the seven habits of highly effective people.
Yeah.
And the courage to be disliked.
Yeah.
They're saying the same thing. Yeah. In 2 wildly different forms. One is way more accepted than the other.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like, right? And so, yeah, it's just the same thing in a different way. And like, I'm sure for some people it would be very, very beneficial to hear. But for others, it's kind of like, yeah, I know. Yeah. Like, duh.
So we can attach this article link in the description, and you can, if you're struggling with your ego, or if you feel like you are someone who has a fragile ego. Yeah. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to listen to us anyways. You probably shut us off already. But yeah. But yeah, send it to someone that maybe needs to hear it, right? And
yeah. And I feel like if you don't want to devote the time to reading 7 Habits of Highly, or
7 Habits.
I keep mixing it up with Atomic Habits.
Yeah. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Yeah. These are, just point blank. This is what you need. This is like whatever. It just puts it in a little bit more of an easily digestible format, I would say.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so to wrap this up, we're going to do a quick little would you rather segment. Mm-hmm. Something easy, except these are deep would you rather questions.
Deep and hard would you rather questions.
Ew!
Welcome! That's the title, I didn't do that. Oh my gosh, okay.
Alright, Jubes, would you rather give up social media or eat the same dinner for the rest of your life?
Give up social media.
I know this is really hard for me,
mm-hmm.
but I think eating the same dinner for the rest of my life I think would drive me insane.
I just can't.
But you can eat other meals.
That's true. But the way I eat food is that I just wouldn't eat it.
Yeah, exactly.
And that wouldn't be healthy.
I might have the same dinner now that I think about that, because I could have fun lunches and fun breakfasts.
That's true, I guess.
I eat pretty much the same breakfast every day.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Would you rather have thought bubbles appear over your head for everyone to see, or for everyone to know you have access, for everyone you know to have access to your search history?
Everyone I know to have access to my search history.
Yeah, that's fair. Same, also.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of thoughts that don't need to be said.
Yeah. Would you rather find $100 floating in a public toilet or $5 in your pocket?
$100 floating in a toilet or $5 in your pocket? I think $100 floating in a toilet.
Public toilet.
Well, if it's flushed,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. I'll just spend it.
Yeah.
Money's disgusting anyways.
It's true. I don't know. I can't see myself reaching in a toilet for $100. I'd have to be...
For $100?
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend peel $100 off of a sticky bar floor. I feel more inclined to do that than reach my hand into a toilet.
If there was nothing else in the toilet, I would do it 100%.
Yeah, so the toilet's looking kind of crusty. Think about a gas station toilet.
If someone had mad diarrhea in that toilet and then dropped a $100 bill on top, I would flush it. Like, no thank you. But if it was, had been freshly flushed.
Yeah.
And it was just $100, I would wash it.
Yeah.
And scrub my hands and not touch anything for a long time until I showered, but...
I guess that's fair.
Yeah. And then I'd spend it.
Yeah.
No, I deposit it.
With Canadian money, it would make sense, because you can actually wash it. But with American money, you couldn't do that.
Yeah, it would be done anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, with American, I would do it for American money, because that's 150 Canadian dollars. Okay, if you were stranded on an island with no food with your dog and your sibling, would you kill your dog to feed your sibling or let your sibling die of hunger?
Oh. I guess I have to say kill the dog to feed the sibling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But shoot, she's an adult. She can figure out her own stuff.
I know. I don't know.
It'd be last resort.
But yeah.
It would not be my first move.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I would be the sibling that would get the dog killed for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not my dog.
Yeah. Alright. Would you rather always be 20 minutes late for important events or always be 2 hours early for everything else?
2 hours early. That's usual for me anyways.
It's just a Tuesday for me.
Yeah. That's fine.
Everything else, yeah, I guess with important events you don't want to be late.
Yeah, 20 minutes late. I don't know. I do not like being late for things.
I heard.
Yeah.
So I had a friend that went to this event recently.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought that they were going to be late. They were 5 minutes late to the time that they were supposed to be there.
Yeah.
The two main people at said event weren't even there when she got there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So the hosts of the event weren't at the event at the time that they said it started.
Oh my gosh. Did they just expect them to be late?
I guess so, and then every single other person was up to an hour and a half late than the original start time of said event.
I would be livid.
I know you would have a fit. I thought of you immediately.
I can't handle that.
No.
No, if you say you're gonna be somewhere at that time, be there at that time. Don't waste my time.
I know.
Oh my gosh, no thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Would you rather be constantly itchy or be in excruciating pain for a whole day once a year?
Excruciating pain for one day.
Yeah.
Constantly itchy would probably drive me insane.
Right.
Would you rather...
Oh my god.
There's some good ones on this list here.
Holy cow, yeah, there's one that I'm going to just...
Would you rather lose all your teeth or lose a day of your life every time you kiss someone?
Oh my god. What? I'd rather lose all my teeth. Because you can just get dentures.
Yeah. I know. A day of your life,
that's a lot.
I know.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, this one.
Yeah.
Would you rather have the lights on or off if you knew the room was full of snakes?
On.
I don't know.
I want to know their next move.
God, I don't know. I would just die instead.
I would just die. You just pass out.
I don't even know if I can answer that question. I think I would rather it off. I think.
Yeah.
I hope to never be in that situation.
Yeah. I hope never be in this situation too.
Okay.
Would you rather lose all of your friends but win the lottery, or keep your friends but you don't get a raise for the rest of your life?
Okay, I don't know what I have to think for this. To keep your friends and not get a raise.
I know.
Yeah. No, friends and connection is way too important for me to just win the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. For me, the quality of life is a lot of connection.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Live an average life with
Yeah.
quality friends.
Exactly, because why be rich and lonely?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can be rich and friends as well.
I mean, you could make new friends, but it's like that's a matter of how much you value your current friends.
Yeah.
And I've known my current friends since I was like between the ages 9 and 12, so.
Yeah, literally.
So, yeah.
Okay, I think this is my last one, but would you rather fight a chicken to the death every time you get in a car, or fight an orangutan to the death once a year but you get a sword?
Once a year but I get a sword.
Yeah, same. I couldn't imagine having to fight a chicken every time you get into a car.
That's true. I watched this movie Nope the other night with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I think it was an orangutan in the movie as well. But it's basically this child actor was on his TV show, and this orangutan killed the entire cast of the TV show because the balloon popped and it set it off, and it went to like killer mode. So that's all I think about now is when we say orangutan is that this like the image of this like bloody. It might have been chimp. I think it was bigger than chimp though. I think it might. I don't know.
How long were its arms? Was he kind of red?
I'll show you a photo. But if you look at the movie Nope, it's. I can't remember the name of the chimp right now, or but anyways, it basically like so now I have this image of this like monkey-like animal wearing this like yellow colored top and these like jean shorts with like blood on its mouth and hands because it literally just went crazy and like started like punching and eating the crew. And so this one guy who ends up being a character in the future, he's like the child actor, he's like sitting at this table and watching this like monkey like be a serial killer, but he blames the monkey because it's I don't know, it's animalistic. You're trying to domesticate a primitive animal.
Yeah, like
is it to blame?
Nope movie.
No. And then there's an image where the monkey goes to fist bump the kid and then he gets shot, and so this kid not only has this like bloody monkey knuckle trying to fist bump him like it'd be a friend.
Yeah.
He then gets to watch it get shot right in front of him.
Oh my gosh.
So trauma.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a bunch of movies called Nope.
N-O-P. It's
A man and his sister discover something sinister in the skies above their California horse ranch?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the one.
Cass. No, that's not what
it's the same creator of like Get Out and Them, I think.
Oh yeah, it's a chimpanzee.
Yeah. There's chimp. Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically.
It's cute!
I know. But look at the...
Oh yeah, here's the fist bump scene.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So you see the chimp's bloody knuckle and then he gets shot right in front of this kid.
Oh man. Yeah. So this is what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll put that up for people.
Yeah. Great movie.
No, thank you.
Highly recommend watching it. But
okay.
Yeah, that scene was just something a little bit like eerie.
No doubt. Yeah, no, I think I'd rather fight an orangutan because you have a sword and I hate chickens.
But if orangutan gets the sword, you might be out.
Then, yeah, dead.
You better practice your sword skills.
But I drive my car way too much. So maybe I would just be so good.
At killing chickens?
At killing chickens.
I know.
Because all you gotta do is...
Chicken breast for ever.
Yeah, that's true. Unlimited chicken. I don't know. Maybe I changed my answer. No, I don't. I drive my car way too much. Like 4 times a day when I'm in my car. I'd just be like, he's a chicken.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we're gonna wrap it up now.
What would you guys do? Write in the comments below.
Yeah.
For any of these, actually.
I know. It's really good. It's great
All right.
stuff. Alright, so I'm Mak Jubes.
I'm Mak Jubes.
We are Sometimes About Slaps on all social media platforms. Our website is sometimesaboutlslaps.com. On our website you can find our affiliate links, our book club reviews, links to our episodes, audio and visual.
Yep.
And if you like us or if you just like what we're doing, give us a like, rating, review. All of it helps us.
Yes.
If you want to follow us on Instagram, we kind of post daily life stuff there. If you want to follow us on TikTok, we post either episode clips or miscellaneous trends.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
kind of fun. Kind of do whatever we want to do on those.
Yep.
And
that's pretty much it.
that's the key points there, yeah. Alright, so we'll see you next Tuesday.
Alright, hello for now.
Bye.
Bye.